connect. Are we connected? Let's hope so, because I'm going live. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to GSX 2021 live from Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Chuck Harold. My next guest, Stefanie Drysdale of Prescient.com. Ms. Stefanie, welcome.
Thank you, Chuck. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, you and I do a weekly cybersecurity recap. It's on LinkedIn every Friday. We have a lot of fun doing that. Today, I thought we'd talk about a topic that you and I, we kick around a lot in some of your discussions, convergence. It's the new buzzword, right? Tell us what convergence means to you.
So convergence is something that, we started talking about years ago, and it seems like this year, finally, everyone got it. It was, the meeting of the digital world and the physical world and kind of putting all those things together. And instead of keeping everything so siloed and separate, to really bring those teams and those capabilities and technologies together for a lot of broad purposes. So it's been really nice to be here this year and see so many people really engaging in this conversation finally.
Now, I'm an advocate for this. Of course, I'm also a critic. So I've had my first computer in 1984. It was 2 floppy drives. You might not have been born by then, so I was in computers for a long time. And here's what I say about convergence. If you weren't thinking about convergence when you got your first pager in 1985 or your first BlackBerry, I think you might have missed it. I think you might have missed the point. Unfortunately, the word security was literally taken over by the cyber world around the 2000s. You started Googling things. If you Googled security, you got Securitas Security Services. You Google security now, it's all about cyber, isn't it? They literally own the word.
Well, so much of us live in a digital world now, so it's really hard not to put that at the front of the charge, right? Especially with the pandemic and all of us working remotely and switching the work models to either a hybrid or fully remote model. It's really hard not to look at security in a cyber sense.
If we're talking about convergence, what are people giving you for feedback on this? Are they, let's say decision makers are basically my age or at a C-level. They did not grow up with security in the IT space, right? They maybe came from the physical security world. What are they getting about convergence that they didn't get before?
I think there are still some people that are very reticent because they don't really fully understand it, and they haven't really engaged with the right people to really help them understand it. The rest, I would say, they understand. A lot of people come from law enforcement backgrounds, Secret Service, all of these things where maybe that wasn't the way their minds worked previously, but because of how they operate now, they can see the risks. They can see how it plays out in the real world, and they understand that something found online can be used in a physical space. Something found in a physical space can be used online as well. So it really, truly, those conversations just need to happen. And the people who are starting to have them now, I think are making a little headway, which is really nice to see.
Now, who is driving this? Are we finding the thoughts for this comes from IT saying, hey, you guys, come on over here to the IT side, you physical guys, and help us participate? Or are the, quote, physical security practitioners stepping up and saying, you know what, I need to learn the vernacular. I got to understand what a VPN is. I got to understand what DOS attack is. Where's their newfound curiosity coming from?
I think that obviously it's what you said. People are trying, right? That you've got IT people that see possibility and potential, and you've got leadership that sees the same. Honestly, from my perspective, I am seeing a lot of partnerships where vendors and other relationships within the industry are just kind of making people more aware of what capabilities exist, and they're evolving. If you spoke with me 6 months ago, there are capabilities that exist today that didn't exist then. So I think just having a lot of those conversations, being very well connected within the network, and to consider all of the sources, of information to be helpful in kind of piecing that and putting it together. And then I think it kind of they run with it from that point, right? Then the IT starts speaking with leadership, and leadership starts asking questions, and then now they have a seat at the table on the board. And I think those things really start with little tiny baby steps, but they really do take it in a really important direction.
Now, you're the Vice President of Cyber for Prescient, Prescient.com. You speak to a lot of clients about these sort of issues. What are people saying they're concerned about for 2022? Is there something emerging that maybe they hadn't thought about before? What are they focusing on for their view of threats and threat landscapes?
Well, ransomware obviously is a topic every single day. Everybody's being hit with it or knows someone hit with it, and they're concerned about the financial aspect, the reputational damage, all of those things. I think also just the continued remote work model and what our new normal looks like, and getting everyone back to work safely. So we're seeing a lot of those questions, a lot of people wondering if they're as safe as they would like to be, or if they once thought they were, and to just make sure that they're surrounded by people that they can use as resources to ask those hard questions.
Do your clients think that they're still in crisis mode? I'm not sure we can have an 18-month crisis, or do they feel that this is the new normal and they're adapting their policies and procedures around a new model?
I think it feels more like a journey, right? We've gone through some really rocky, bumpy patches with this, and then now that we're kind of working through it, we're kind of getting our bearings on some aspects, but then we kind of get thrown off course by a new variant, or a reticence for, finally we get a vaccine, but now people don't want the vaccine. So I think people are, and then the same thing with, oh, finally we can return to work, but people don't want to return to work. And then all the volatility with the world right now. I mean, poor airlines, they're definitely getting bombarded with, people and their perceptions of things, and all kinds of, human input to that kind of stuff. So I think that it's an evolving kind of thing that we're just going to have to keep moving with it.
Absolutely, we have to adapt. And of course, you can catch Ms. Stefanie on LinkedIn Live every Friday, talking about her weekly cybersecurity recap. And I think this week is show 91. Is that correct? Something like
91,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of shows.
Yes, you've put up with me for all of those weeks, Chuck.
I certainly have put up with you for all those weeks. No doubt about that. And you and me, no doubt about that as well. Ms. Stefanie, thanks so much for coming on the show. Get back and work the floor, and let me know what's happening out there at GSX. And thanks so much for coming on GSX 2021 live from Orlando, Florida.